Political instability is showing no signs of abating in Peru, and the economic cost is rising. The protest, which began in December after the impeachment of former President Pedro Castillo, have cost the country between $60 and $100 million per day. That's equivalent to 2% of Peru's GDP since the protest began. Protesters are calling for the immediate resignation of interim President Dina Boluarte, for new general elections to be called as soon as possible, and for a referendum on whether to rewrite Peru's market-friendly constitution. Blockades of roads and airports by anti-government protesters across the country have forced companies to scale down or completely halt operations due to difficulties bringing in supplies and taking products out to ports. Peru, the world's #2 copper supplier, has lost $160 million of copper production since the protest began. Meanwhile, the country's Agricultural Association estimates the protests have led to $300 million in lost farm exports, hurting producers of grapes, blueberries, and asparagus, among other products.
Economically, these are the worst protests that Peru has seen in several decades. It has disrupted 3 of the key industries of the country, which are mining, agribusiness, and tourism. It has led to the shutdown of a couple of mines and to the slowdown of others. Airports have been shuttered.
In response, the government announced a $1.55 billion plan to manage the economic impact of the unrest. The plan includes the expansion of welfare provisions as well as public works and investment in mining and agriculture.
The government needs to find a social solution that will lead to the unblocking of the roads and the end of the protests. And this government in 8 weeks has not been able to find a compromise with protesters. Dina Boluarte has said that she will not resign, but she has also not proposed any alternative that has so far appeased the protests. So we are in sort of a standstill where there's no obvious solution to what is going on.